everyone. Wanted to chat with you today about the idea of a perfect book launch. And if you have been thinking about writing a book or self-publishing a book, and specifically nonfiction books is my expertise, and if you've been doing a lot of research into launching that book or everything you need to do to get your book ready to get out into the world, this video is for you, especially if you've ever felt very overwhelmed by everything that people tell you you should do or that you think you need to do to get ready for your book launch. So hi, I'm Dr. Beth Brombos of Blogger to Author. I'm a #1 Amazon bestselling author, and I am super passionate about helping bloggers and other content creators get their book out into the world the easier way and the faster way. First of all, by repurposing their content, and then second of all, which I'm going to get into a little bit today, about choosing strategies that work well for them and that are based on their goals. And this video was inspired just by me thinking about what's out there in the self-publishing marketplace in terms of experts to learn from and just things that people tell you to do, and me really thinking about what makes me different and what I help bloggers do, what makes that process different from somebody who, say, is just there to help people get their book out quickly, and maybe somebody who doesn't really focus on nonfiction, or even somebody who is more concerned about making money from a book launch. Not that I don't help people make money, but I will say that the #1 thing that I talk about is not making money. And even though my clients do absolutely get royalties from book sales, I like to not make that the #1 focus or the #1 thing that I encourage people to focus on, because your book will do a lot more than that for you. First of all, especially not focusing just on book sales, but everything else, the authority that a book brings you will do for your business. But then it has a lot more to it, and your book will do a lot more for you, again, than just things that are monetary. But that's a little bit of a digression, but it is tied into this idea of having a perfect book launch. And I just wanted to sort of get real with people and talk about what it takes to have a really big book launch. And so those of you who may hear that people are having, $10,000 book launches or something crazy like that, there's a lot of effort that goes into that book launch that most of you watching aren't going to be able to do. People hire teams, they hire book publicists, or if these people are authors, all they're doing is focusing in on their book. They don't have anything else going on. Their book is their life at that point. And if you're at that space, then that's totally fine. And there are a lot of different rabbit holes that you can go down in terms of book marketing strategy. And there's a lot you can do if you have money and time to spend promoting your book. But I know that that's not necessarily all of you who are watching right now. A lot of you who are watching this, you have a lot of other things going on. You have a business that you're trying to run. You need to create content, whether that is blog posts or maybe you do video, maybe you have a podcast. You have to post on social media. You have to write emails to your list. You have a laundry list of things that you need to do to keep your business going. And so when it comes to promoting your book, you may not, and you likely don't have 8 hours a day, 5+ days a week to devote to marketing your book. And so I think it's really important for you to sit down and be realistic about what kind of time you can devote to promoting your book, and really what will that equal in terms of results. And just sort of sit back and understand that even if your book doesn't become a New York Times bestseller, becoming an Amazon bestseller is a much simpler process, and that I definitely think is doable for a lot of you, especially if you have a following. But just in terms of like sheer book sales, like the volume of books you sell when you launch your book or continue to work with your book, you may not have the money to hire somebody to publicize the book for you again, or you may not have the time to do it yourself. But just know that your book can still be successful, even if you're not selling thousands of copies or tens of thousands of copies, or even hundreds of copies every month. Even if you just sell a handful of books, you're still helping people solve a pain point with your book. You're still teaching them to do whatever your book it is, whatever it is you teach them in your book, and you're still changing lives. So I guess my point here is to consider redefining what success means for you in terms of your book, and knowing that it's okay if your book doesn't have these crazy numbers like you see other people doing, that it's still going to be super helpful to your business and it can still do a lot. But I also think that you should sit down and be honest about the amount of time that you do have to spend, and that you should choose your book promotion strategies very carefully, and that you should be really strategic about what you decide to do and what you don't decide to do, and what you purposely say, that is a strategy I will pursue later on down the road. And just, again, be very honest with yourself and understand that some strategies are very time intensive, and so if you don't have the time to do it yourself, you may have to hire somebody out to help you out with those strategies to make it work. So if you are listening to this and you also follow other people who are in the self-publishing space or just the general book publishing space, when you're listening to the strategies that they're following, just take careful note and think about what kind of help they had with that. And did they have the type of money where they could hire a team to help them out, or hire a book publicist, or hire just a general publicist, or a street team manager, that sort of thing. And then think to yourself, well, do I have the money to do that, or do I have the time to do it myself? And if not, then make sure that you're not holding yourself up to a standard that you can't reach. But then again, also think through, the things that you can do with not a lot of money or without a ton of time. And a lot of times that's collaborating with other influencers in your marketplace. Definitely go back and look at the video I did last week that was all about no cost marketing. So for those of you who are on a really limited budget, that can be, I think you'll find that really helpful. And a lot of those strategies involve building relationships and then leveraging relationships. So look into that. And Emily says that she loves the podcast. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. I do put a lot of time into it, just because it's a labor of love. I really hope that people get a lot out of it. And I'm just so happy to hear, Emily, that you're finding the tips accessible and everything. That's my goal. That's what I want to do, is give you guys as much information as I can so that you can make it work for you. And again, that really comes back to my goal of the video here, which is just to let you know that if you hear about these crazy big launches, even that self-published people do, that sometimes it's not a one-person show, or if it is, you might hear a lot of success stories, for example, from people who, like, the number one thing they do to make a living is write books. And so they necessarily have to put in a lot of hours to promote their books. If a book is just one component of your business, if you're using your book as, say, like a tripwire product, and you're going to hopefully get people, when they buy that book, to then maybe buy into a course or services you offer, then your marketing strategy may look a little different because you got a lot of other stuff going on with your business. So just be aware of that. Don't be hard on yourself if you feel like you're struggling to promote your book. And as always, if you have questions, let me know. I do have one-on-one strategy sessions that we can do to essentially sit down and help you figure out what you need to do to publish your book, and using the resources and the time you have available. So if you need an individualized plan like that, definitely check out my book marketing strategy sessions. You can find more information about that at blogger.author.com/strategy. And I always do have quick little 15-minute free calls to kind of discuss where I might be able to help you. Obviously, no obligation with those. So I will put the link to sign up for one of those in the comments just in case anybody's interested. And as always, you can always leave comments in the comments as well, or questions in the comments, and I will answer them. But thank you for listening, and good luck with your books, good luck with your marketing, and I will catch you all soon. Happy writing!